This is the instruction on how to complete the community engagement initial process. To start the initial process, you'll first start with your engagement level instrument selection. Your client should have already filled all of this out completely. And after they fill it out completely, you will go in and you will complete for them. It will be blank for them, a full contact list. The full contact list will exactly match how many people they said that they would interview. So, for example, in leadership, if they want to interview 5 advisory council members, you're going to go in and create space that says leadership, advisory council, focus group, and there will be 5 of them. First, last name, email, phone will all be blank. Will all be blank because that is what they're going to complete. They're going to give you the name and either the email or phone number, depending on what type of interview it is. The next one, staff leaders. They want to interview, they want you to do individual interviews with 7 of those. So you're going to, for staff, if I can find it. For staff, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to say leadership, staff leadership, individual interview, leave this blank, they will fill it out. So for every individual interview, you must have either a email address or you must have a phone number in order to contact that person. Once they return the list to you, you give them a week or so to do it. You are to come in and check to make sure that the survey categories match. So for example, you should only in the survey category have leadership, staff, youth participants, adult participants, and community stakeholders. Those are the choices. During this interview process, they may decide to change the choices, and that's fine, but they need to match what's on the full contact list. Same thing for groups. Every group that is listed here in the group area needs to be on the group column. And the engagement type, whether it is a paper survey, individual interview, focus group, electronic survey, all of that needs to be listed here. And it needs to match. The only one that they will probably not have first and last name for are their community surveys. But their community surveys still need to have email addresses because we have to be able to get in contact with those individuals. So if you have a community survey, more than likely, maybe they'll end up putting it on another sheet because it's so long. But here's an example. Well, these are the Glenville Collaborative Electronic Survey. We have their email addresses, but we also have their names. But typically, if you're doing a community survey, it's going to look like this: email address, and category and group, but there really is no first or last name. And that's absolutely fine. Okay. So once this is set up, and once you have all of your groups in, you are sure that it is accurate, correct, you are going to go in and you are going to double check the strategy. So for example, if they said they're going to do 3, there needs 3 executive leadership, you need to have 3 executive leadership. And the way you will do that is by using the filter feature, which is under data. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So originally it will look like this. You have to make sure there are no spaces, none. There can be no spaces or anything. Everything has to be sitting next to each other for the filter to work. If there's any spaces in between any of them, the filter will not work. Now this one, it's not centered correctly, but it's okay. It will still work, but you just have to make sure it's centered. So what you're going to do is you come up here to the top row, you highlight it, you go to data. In data, you're going to click on filter, and it will put your arrows in. Then when you click on that drop down, this is everything that's on the list. So if you want to see all of the youth participants, you first check select all. That turns everything off. You check youth participants, you click OK, it filters it. Then you can see it's filtered here. Now, if you want to be able to see everybody who's in the after school program, 5 to 9, you can check that. You click OK. And at the bottom, it will give you a count. So this says there are 15 of 341 records found. So that means that there are 15 on the list for the after school program. And then you can go back to your engagement strategy and see for youth participants after school program, 15. It matches. And if it matches, then you can come over here and color code it to know that it matches and that the correct number is on here. When you are done, you can just go back to your data, go where it says filter, and then you can say clear, and it will clear everything out, and you can do it again and do that for each group. It's helpful if you do it with someone because they can call the numbers out, and then you can actually filter, you can compare numbers, and it works much quicker. But as you can see, you can also do it by yourself. When you are done with that part, then you move to your engagement schedule. The engagement schedule, these usually would have been discussed with the person ahead of time. If not, you want to get with them because you want to, or you can fill this out first and get their approval. What you're going to do is, again, every group should be represented. So you have leadership, every group. You come to your engagement selection, advisory council, staff leaders, executive leadership. I come to my engagement schedule and it's the same. Staff. Come back here, it's the same. Adult participants, you come back here, all of these should match. Okay. Also, then you're going to put here, how are you contacting those individuals? If you are contacting them several ways, for example, let me find one. Okay, the senior program. 25 are going to be by phone and 50 are going to be by paper survey. Those are two totally different engagements. So for senior program home delivered meals, you're going to do 2 of them. And then one, you're going to say paper survey. And this one, you're going to say telephone, because they could have 2 different start dates and end dates. Then you're going to enter your start date. You're going to enter your end date. This is the date that we will start engaging with them. This is the date that it ends. Like, we should have all telephone calls done by this time. We should have all paper surveys done by this time. This process usually takes 2 to 3 weeks. Usually, you know, unless something happens, I give people 3 weeks to get this whole thing done. But we'd like to try to get them done as soon as possible, but 3 weeks is the maximum because this process really takes 5 weeks to get done. Next, you're going to do your survey link. And the way you're going to get your survey link is you're going to go and you are going to open up your Cognito forms. And just in the normal way that you do, you'll log in to your account on Cognito Forms. Now, in this case, there should be a folder already that has whoever we're doing this for, and it says surveys. This is where all their surveys will sit. You'll have, there's your staff, your leadership, community stakeholder, adult, and youth participants. Okay. The only survey that you will have 2 of will be adult community survey and youth, because we do a few different questions for the youth than we do for the adult in the community survey. But this is youth participants, adult participants, your community stakeholder, leadership, staff, and then your general community feedback survey, which is under community. So what you do, you come here and there's the link. You click on form link. You grab the link, and this is for the youth community feedback survey. Then you can go back to your engagement strategy. That one's going to be down here, but I haven't filled those in yet. And then whatever line that's appropriate, you're going to paste that link. Now I'll like wrap it. I go to wrap text. I want to be careful. You don't want to click on it. It'll take you to the survey. Right. So, and you can see here, St. Martin de Porres Family Center Youth Community Feedback Survey. That's this one. Now, with community stakeholders, I don't necessarily bring all of these over. I will say community mass survey. Then I will have a category for adult, community mass survey. And then you can do something like community stakeholders, only because we don't necessarily want to list all of these out when we're tracking it. So you can just if there's no difference, youth community feedback survey, adult community feedback survey, and then just put community stakeholders. Just use those 3 categories and that'll be enough. You don't need to list out all of those. Those do not need to match. So once you are done filling all of this out, your engagement schedule, you have your survey links and all that in, and actually you can do it before when this full contact list is done, then you're going to shoot an email to Tanika and say, Tanika, I am done. And then Tanika is going to come in and she will then populate all of these for individual interviews, community surveys, so that we can then email, and then she will be responsible for emailing the communications out so that people can start scheduling. And that is how you do a community engagement strategy. If you have any other questions till you get the hang of it, you can just ask Diana Rosa. All right.